Hello, I hope you're well. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another one in honor of Women's History Month, which is happening right now in March in the United States. So if you watched my other video, that was a recommendations video of 5 biographies on some trailblazing women that I thoroughly enjoyed when I read them and thought that you would as well, and so I wanted to share them. This time around, I've selected 5 more books that are on my personal physical TBR that I'm very much looking forward to reading at some point because the women that they are about are really interesting to me. So more recommendations for you and yet more books to add to my TBR for me, but why don't we dive right in? Okay, the first book that I want to talk about is Mary Queen of Scots by John Guy. Now, 2 things before I go any further. Yes, I am aware that this is the hideous movie tie-in cover, but I made the mistake of buying this around the time that the movie with Saoirse Ronan and Margot Robbie came out, so there was no avoiding it. Secondly, my personal preference when I read any sort of biography on a woman or a nonfiction history book about women is to read something that has been written by another woman. And that's a personal preference with me because throughout history, men haven't always been so kind to the women that they are writing biographies about. It can be very male-gazy or, to put it very bluntly, very sexist, and that has been a problem over the course of centuries, essentially. However, I am hoping that we have evolved a little bit and that is not going to be a problem here with John Guy's biography on Mary Queen of Scots. As far as Mary Queen of Scots goes, she's always been a very romanticized figure for me, that I have a sort of episodic understanding of her life, but after going to Scotland and walking through castles and palaces and other sort of historical landmarks that had connections to her, I realized that a lot of my understanding of who Mary Queen of Scots was actually based and directly connected to my understanding of who Elizabeth I was and their relationship. I didn't have, or I don't have, as much of an understanding of her as an individual, which is what I'm hoping reading this biography will accomplish. I know that her life is very interesting and also very tragic. I know that she was very politically savvy in her own right. She was the Queen of France briefly, she was Queen of Scotland, she was forced to abdicate so that her 1-year-old son at the time could rule, and then she was imprisoned for nearly 20 years, I think, by Elizabeth I before she was finally beheaded and executed for treason. So she has a really interesting life story, and I'm really looking forward to this. But I just honestly haven't gotten around to it yet because there's so many books on my TBR. But yeah, that's how I feel about that one, and I am certainly looking forward to it, even though it has this horrible, horrible movie tie-in cover. That just bugs me. I'm sorry. But moving on. The next book I feel like will come as a surprise to no one because really it is just a love affair continuing. And the book I'm talking about is Sophia Tolstoy, a biography by Alexandra Popov. Now, if you watched my other video, you would have seen that I read a previous book of Alexandra Popov's, The Wives, and really enjoyed it. And so I just figured I'd stick with an author I know when it comes to Sophia Tolstoy. And as I mentioned in that video, it was her description of Sophia Tolstoy in The Wives that really started my love affair of her. Sophia Tolstoy to me is just a fascinating figure. She was intelligent and intellectual in her own right. She was a businesswoman, and she was just such a big figure in the works of Leo Tolstoy themselves. I know that their marriage, which I believe was 40 some odd years, was tumultuous at times, but also very prolific. So I'm very interested in learning more about her in her own right, and I thought that this would be a nice companion piece to the Diaries of Sophia Tolstoy, which I'm slowly but surely making my way through. The next book is one that I am super excited about, to the point that it was in one of my anticipated releases videos and appeared in my mini haul during my February vlog, and that is The Doctor's Blackwell: How Two Pioneering Sisters Brought Medicine to Women and Women to Medicine by Janice P. Nimura. Now, I have always had a sort of respect and idol worship type relationship when it came to Elizabeth Blackwell. I very vividly remember reading a biography on her for a school book report when I was maybe 9, 10, 11, and at the time I was a little girl who was aspiring to become a doctor, so reading about the first woman in the United States to earn an MD was life-changing. This is a book that is a sort of dual biography about Elizabeth Blackwell and also her sister Emily, who was, like I was at the time, very inspired by her sister's career choice and path, and also became a doctor herself. And these women dealt with a lot of adversity over the course of their lifetime during the 19th century, but somehow still managed to found the first women-staffed hospital, which was in New York City at the time. So I have a lot of interest in these two individuals and really am looking forward to gaining a better understanding of Elizabeth Blackwell's life through the lens of an adult, with a biography that has been written for adults as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. And also I've honestly just had a lot of recent success with sort of medical history or history of medicine type books that I do think that I will personally enjoy this one from that little place in my heart that is still the doctor-to-be. The next book is one that I feel like will come as a shock to some of my regular subscribers, and it is Red Rosa by Kate Evans, and this is a graphic novel style biography on Rosa Luxemburg, and I have had this kind of in my shopping cart on bookshop.org for months. And since I had such success with this Three Escapes of Hannah Arendt, which was also a biography in the same style, I figured, why don't we just try it and see if graphic style biographies are a thing that I can get behind. This is very much up my alley. When I was very seriously contemplating pursuing a PhD in history and actually was in the process of applying to grad school, I had proposed that my project, which would eventually evolve into a dissertation, I imagined, was to write a history and look into the lives of female revolutionaries, terrorists, and partisans in the 19th and first half of the 20th century in Europe. And so I knew of Rosa Luxemburg because she kind of fell into that category, but I don't know much about her life in detail. So I know that she was very much to the left politically. I know that she was anti-World War I, and I think also just anti-war in general, and I also know that she was assassinated, but beyond that I don't know much about her life. So I am very much looking forward to this one, to learning more about her life and legacy, and I do think that this graphic novel style sort of packaging makes this a little bit more accessible, and it's not very long, so it's something that I can easily tackle. And if I really am fascinated by her life from what I learn here, then I would certainly pick up a more traditional form of a biography and learn more about her that way. I am very interested in seeing whether or not the Hannah Arendt one was a fluke, or if I can really get behind this type of biography. I will certainly report back. And lastly, we have Madame Fourcade's Secret War by Lynne Olson. And again, I feel like this is going to be a book that is in a very similar vein to A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell. It is about espionage, and it is about World War II. And in this case, the biography is on Marie Madeleine Fourcade, who is a figure that I knew nothing about until I started seeing this book appear on the nonfiction paperback tables at Barnes and Nobles. But I was intrigued by everything that was in the synopsis on the back cover. So this is a French woman who created the largest network of intelligence in occupied France and was the only woman to become the chef de resistance during World War II. And she has a phenomenal story, and I'm not giving any spoilers because this is all literally on the back of the book, but she was captured by the Nazis twice and escaped twice. And one of those occasions, she escaped by slipping through the bars of her jail cell naked? How is this not a movie? Like, I am so intrigued. Is this a movie? If it is a movie, please someone tell me. But it just feels like it's almost too good to be true. But I am so excited about this because, again, I really enjoyed the book on Virginia Hall, and these two women seem to be contemporaries and were fighting on the same team and doing a lot of the same things. But this young woman is fighting for her country. She's a French woman, and France is occupied and being controlled by the Nazis at this time. So I think that sort of patriotism might also play a significant role here. But I am just really looking forward to reading this book because, as I've mentioned on this channel before, I really do enjoy spy things. So hopefully this is on par with A Woman of No Importance. So yeah, those are 5 books that are on my physical TBR about some trailblazing, badass sounding women from history that I am very excited to learn more about, and hopefully these are books that you yourself have added to your TBR too. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and if you did enjoy it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!